Hi everybody.
Hi everybody, it's Karen Kimsey-House.
And Henry Kimsey-House. And we are here on our beautiful day on our deck here in Northern California at Dillon Beach, and we are so excited to be here to talk to you.
Thanks so much for having us speak with you at your 19th European Coactive Community Day. Woo!
19?
I know, isn't that
That's
incredible?
astonishing, and it's such a powerful expression of your commitment, your dedication, your responsibility for spreading this wonderful coactive message throughout the world. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really want to acknowledge all of you for creating an environment for people to come together and learn new things and love each other a whole bunch, and for doing what it takes to keep the community alive and growing over this long period of time. Also want to give a shout out to Kyle Newman. Hi Kyle.
Hey Kyle, hang
Yes.
loose.
Kyle was actually one of the people who started the European Coactive coaching community, and I just really want to acknowledge Kyle for your tireless work over the years to keep this community alive and green and growing. You know, Kyle was in my leadership program.
That's right.
Yes.
He's one of yours.
One of mine,
Yeah.
these many years ago. It's been such a pleasure, Kyle, to watch your leadership blossom and grow.
Well, here we're noticing the wind coming up. See our hair going like this a little bit?
Like it
We're
blow
going to
a
go inside to our living room, and we're going to tell you a couple stories if that works for you. See you inside.
See you inside. So here we are. Welcome to our living room.
It's beautiful here. Now we have the view, and you have the view of us.
Right, which is not quite as good, but almost as good, right?
We understand that you are working on the idea of a hero's journey theme. And we thought that was really interesting and really appropriate, because everything we have ever done at CTI has been based on that narrative form, or the hero's journey. When you think about coming into any of the workshops that you took at CTI, you came in and there was something on the first day that sort of knocked you into another reality. We call that a disorienting event. And then you spent the rest of the time and the next day and a half really working. And in any hero's journey, that's the going down, the really going into the journey more and more. And then there's a point, probably on Sunday morning of, if you did a weekend course, or the third day, where there's like a climax or a realization, or in Joseph Campbell's words, it would be that's when you sort of hit bottom on his journey. And the realization starts to happen, and you start to then integrate and move up into the next phase. And that's what the hero's journey is. You've slain your dragons, you've learned what you needed to learn, and now you're on your way out. And in fact, you were talking to me earlier about it being, actually the coaching interaction has its own version of a hero's journey.
Well, don't you think that's true? Really, what we do with our clients is something like a hero's journey too. You know, their lives and our lives too are filled with disorienting events. You know, we'll really ask Joseph Campbell to forgive us for the way that we've sort of put our own language on the hero's journey. But there is that initial disorienting event at the beginning that really opens things up and starts our work with the client really descending into the mystery, where transformation starts to foment and churn, and then we walk with them, you know, through that path, finding allies, and then eventually coming into a place of integration and new essence and new ways of being and moving in the world. So it's really important in coaching to know where you are in that process and to honor and respect the whole of the journey.
And what we realize is that hero's journey is like so many different stories. It's actually the classic narrative structure. Mm-hmm. And we just think that structure is essential in all walks of life, whether you're working with a client, whether you're designing a workshop, or whether you're running a business.
It applies really to the whole of your life, right? We're born, we come into the world, we have our journey, we sort of fall apart in our early 20s, we've come to know more fully who we are, and then as we grow older, we begin to rise up out of that deep dive and come together in new and interesting ways.
So, how about we tell you a couple of stories from our lives.
Starting a new business is a hero's journey. You bet. I bet you're discovering that and starting your own coaching businesses and practices as well.
We thought we might let you in on a little bit of how we started our business.
CTI had very humble beginnings. We're a global organization now, and we have the opportunity to work with people all around the world, but we started out very, very small.
We were all three of us hanging our shingles out as coaches for the first time in the late 80s. And Laura Whitworth, our partner, who has since gone to the great beyond, started bugging me to create a workshop for teaching people to be coaches, because her clients were starting to bug her to teach them to do what she did. And she bugged me and bugged me and bugged me, and I said no and no, I didn't want to do it. And then finally she disoriented me enough.
As only Laura could do.
As only could Laura could. Those of you who knew Laura, you know, she was a powerful disorienter. And she finally got me and disoriented me. And then we began the journey. The first thing we did is we scheduled the workshop before we designed it. And then we designed it, put it together, and we had some of her clients, some of my clients, and some of our friends and people came to it. And that was the grandfather of the fundamentals course that you all took.
I was actually in that fundamentals course. I was a friend of Laura's, and they knew Henry. And so they invited me because, of course, who else is going to come when you first do a workshop? Nobody but your friends knows who you are. So I remember sitting in that first workshop really thinking, oh my goodness, this is really something spectacular. This is really something special. Except they don't know anything about business. They really need a really hotshot business person like me. So I took them both out to lunch.
Big lunch. We were excited.
Pizza.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, have me as your partner. Really let me join arms with you. I'm sure that with me at the helm, we could get up to doing one workshop a month.
She had the big vision. I got to tell you, the big vision. One workshop a month. We said that's our visionary. If she could really generate that for us, we will make this a business and make her a partner.
Of course, we do more than 40 workshops a weekend now all around the world. CTI has grown beyond, you know, my wildest imaginings. I just think it's really important to appreciate our beginnings and for you to know that when we first started out, we didn't know what we were doing and we didn't know where we were going. We just kept following our own hearts and following our breadcrumbs and doing what made sense to do next. And being together and being in collaborative relationship with each other. That's what we want for you too.
You want one more story? There's another story. It's really a great story. Start talking about the story. Tell the story about the first certification exam.
Well,
You're going to like this.
When we used to certify people, we used to get together and have a party because that was a great reason to have a party.
Oh, that's right. Was it not the exam? It was the celebration of the certification.
It was a celebration, yeah. And we had gotten our first office in San Rafael, California. And we just moved in. All of the stuff actually from our former space was in a van outside as we were getting ready to have the party. So people came for the party. We had a wonderful time. We honored and celebrated everyone. And then at the end of the party, Laura talked everybody in the group into helping us move all the stuff into the office. So everybody got up from the party and they all formed a line and they all moved desks and chairs and file cabinets and got us all settled into our new office space.
And Laura was there with her whip, you know, getting people going. And at the end of it, I was so impressed that we had taken people who were celebrating, and they were all dressed up, they had their families there and everything, celebrating certification, and Laura got them to move all our furniture into the office space. It's a classic example, though, of you know, in a way, building community, because that, like you all are doing in your community, it's not always just the celebrations that form the community. It's often the sweat and the labor and the working together, and that is actually what happened. And bless Laura, she knew that better than any of us.
Yeah, miss her.
Miss her much.
So we wish you a wonderful day.
And a wonderful hero's journey.
And a wonderful hero's journey today of being together and learning together and really growing your relationship with each other. That's how it all happens, really, is in community and connection. We're not meant to walk through this life alone. We're meant to do it together. So have a great day, and thank you for letting us be here with you, just even for a short little while.
And tell stories to each other.
Do tell stories.
Nothing creates intimacy like great stories. Have a great time.
Yeah, bye. Have a great day.
See you later. Bye.